crap!
Hi there, Presley here. Uncharted is one of the most successful PlayStation exclusive franchises. At the end of Uncharted 4, the series protagonist Nathan Drake rode off into the sunset after his last adventure. This left players wondering what is next for the Uncharted franchise. I will be discussing possible directions the next game could go, including locations and characters. Before we get started, I'd just like to say if you've been enjoying my videos, please like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, enjoy. You can also follow me on Twitter for up-to-date gaming news. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Before I discuss what possible characters will make an appearance in the game, first I must look at where in the Uncharted timeline the next game will take place. The next game's place on the timeline will directly affect what characters will make an appearance in the game. There are a few different options as to what time period the next game could take place. First and foremost is the most obvious choice of directly after Uncharted 4. Another option would be if there is a time skip, as this will open up the possibility for a whole new set of characters. Yet another option is the game could be a prequel and take place before the events of Uncharted Drake's Fortune. The final logical option, although a long shot, is that the game could take place at some point between any of the previous games. However, this is ill-advised as there would be a high risk of messing with all the previous games' continuity. Now that the options on the timeline have been laid out, let's look at what characters these options open up. Firstly, if the game decides to go for the time skip, this would mean that Nathan Drake's daughter, Cassie Drake, would have grown up and would be a possible playable character. Any player who has completed Uncharted 4 would know that Naughty Dog have hinted that this is a possibility. However, I think there are some logical issues with Cassie being the protagonist for future games. Firstly, it's incredibly unlikely that Cassie would follow in the footsteps of her mother and father. The life of an adventurer is an incredibly dangerous one, and I find it incredibly unlikely that Drake would want that for his daughter. Furthermore, the reason why Drake ended up that way in the first place is because he had an incredibly troubled upbringing. His mother committed suicide when he was young, and his father left him and his brother to the orphanage. Cassie Drake, on the other hand, seems to have a great childhood and a promising future. If the next Uncharted game was set directly after Uncharted 4, this could open up possibilities for several playable characters. Firstly, as seen in Lost Legacy, the game could continue to follow the adventures of Chloe and Nadine. However, as this was already done in Lost Legacy, I think it's unlikely that Naughty Dog would choose to do this again. The frontrunners for the protagonists of the next Uncharted game are definitely Sam Drake. The frontrunners for the protagonists of the next Uncharted game are definitely Sam and Sully. At the end of Uncharted 4, Sam tells Sully about a plan that he has. He asks him if he knows anybody for the job that could speak Portuguese, and this is where Sam throws his name into the hat. Furthermore, Sam says to Nathan that he still has to find a few lost cities to catch up to him. Thus, his days as an adventurer are far from over. That cutscene from Uncharted 4 not only hints at Sam and Sully going on adventures in the future, but also suggests a possible location in Brazil or Portugal. A final and also unlikely option is that the protagonist of the next game will still be Nathan Drake. This is of course if Naughty Dog decide to go with a prequel or set the game somewhere between any of the previous games. However, after giving Nathan Drake such a perfect send-off in Uncharted 4, he should not be the protagonist of any future games. Having said that, since he is such a beloved character and a PlayStation mascot, he should make some appearance in one way or another. A possible option would be some kind of cameo appearance through a flashback. Let's look at potential locations for the next Uncharted game. As mentioned before, one recurring theme in all the Uncharted games is lost cities. If the next game follows the adventures of Sully and Sam in the unspecified Portuguese-speaking country, this opens up several options for lost cities. One of these options is the lost Incan city of Paititi in northwest Brazil. I know this was featured in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, however, Lara Croft does not have a monopoly on this lost city. Legend has it is that Paititi is one of the 7 lost cities of gold. Another one of the 7 would be El Dorado, so this could somehow tie in to Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Another option for South American lost cities is the lost city of Zed, or Z. It is said to be located in the Mato Grosso state of Brazil. According to legend, it is the home of an ancient advanced civilization. Sam and Sully could go in search of the lost city to see what treasures they could find there. Another possibility is that the Portuguese-speaking country could just be a starting point and the adventure could lead anywhere. For example, Uncharted 3 starts in London and ends in the middle of the Rub al Khali desert. Another option for a lost city that could feature in the game is Atlantis. This could be an incredibly exciting option with lots of potential. However, Atlantis has been so heavily featured in pop culture to the point that it has lost its mystique and has become somewhat of a cliche. An unrelated option for lost treasure could be the Amber Room. This was a room in St. Petersburg made of pure gold that the Nazis looted during World War II. To this day, the gold has never been recovered. Sully and Sam could try and track down the remnants of the Amber Room, however, with the Nazi connection, it could be a bit too close to Indiana Jones. Whatever location the next Uncharted game decides to go with, there is one gameplay feature that should be left out, and that is open world sections. The open world sections in Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy really killed the pace of an otherwise exciting game. The next Uncharted game should definitely stick with linear locations. One polarizing feature of the Uncharted games is the supernatural elements. Fans seem to be divided on whether the supernatural elements from Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2 should return in the next game. I'm going to leave this one to you, the viewers. Let me know what you think in the comments section. With all the hints pointing at the next Uncharted game being set in a South American location, I think the game should go into Uncharted territory and be set in the Far East. I think Japan would make an excellent location for the next Uncharted game due to its mythology and its rich history. Furthermore, because an Uncharted game has not been set in the Far East before, it will have a completely different look and feel to all previous games. Some possible lost treasures that could be hunted there include the 3 sacred treasures of Japan. Another option is Yamashita's gold. This is war loot that was stolen by Imperial Japanese forces during World War II and hidden throughout the Philippines. Another option is the Awamaru treasure. This is a stash of gold, platinum, and diamonds said to be worth over $5 billion. The stash was lost when the Japanese ship Awamaru was torpedoed and sank in 1945. A final option is the Honjo Masamune samurai sword. This is a legendary samurai sword created by Goro Masamune. It was created between 1288 and 1328 AD. It is considered a priceless Japanese cultural artifact. Unfortunately, it was lost during the US occupation of Japan. I'm certain that Sam and Sully could sell that for a high price on the black market. Now that is the direction that I think the next Uncharted game should go. Let me know what you think in the comments section. What locations and characters would you like to see in the next Uncharted game? Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to Prez1990 for weekly gaming videos. All that's left for me to say is take care, and I'll see you in the next video.